找另一半究竟是选自己喜欢的人，还是喜欢自己的人呢？这个话题也算是。
When looking for a partner, should you choose someone you like or someone who likes you? This topic could be called an age-old riddle, but it doesn't stump Xiaomi at all. Why? Let me give an example. Yesterday, a big brother came to consult me. He himself is quite outstanding, 33 years old, bachelor's, master's, PhD, all done, annual income around 300 liwen yaun yaun, height 1.85 meters, weight 170 jin. He's facing this problem. On the one hand, there's a post, 2000 Yan's junior coworker, who is extremely enthusiastic toward him. First, his basic background as he told it. I've had 3 relationships, but because I'm avoidant attachment, and pretty severe at that, every relationship stayed at a superficial taste and leave stage. Among them, there were no lack of high education, good-looking women, but I have a desire for sex, and at the same time, some fear. To this day, I'm still a virgin. Same as that Taobao number 2 guy I talked about earlier. Both are virgins. I've noticed there are so many virgins among male PhDs. He said, up till now, I've been single for 3.5 years. His ideal type, a high education, fair-skinned, long black, straight-haired, pretty-faced, cool-tempered girl. High education and high income. That, he says, is more beneficial for family life and the education of future children. That's how he explained his requirements. Long black straight hair is simply my personal sexual preference. The cool vibe gives me a sense of security. Also, I can't accept clingy types. Best if she can help my career. Then, about his 3 exes. The first was 1 year older than him, 3rd-tier college degree, tall and pretty. They broke up because he felt she was too immature. The second was 5 years older, a master's from a prestigious school. They broke up because she was too clingy, and once he realized she was older by 5 years, he decisively ended it. The third was the one he liked most, a PhD from a top school, cute, lowly type. At that time, I wanted to stick to her every day, kissing and hugging all the time. Later, she was preparing to go abroad. They became long distance, but she fought feminist battles. On Duban, Xiao Hongsu, etc., arguing daily that children should take the mother's surname. Women's household labor is worth 20,000 yuan a month. Bride price is childbirth compensation. Quoting some public figures, pro-women topics like that. Once she found he didn't actively go along, she proposed a breakup. He said of himself, I admit my avoiding might be an excuse for being a scumbag, but I happen to still be a virgin. Now, he's met a company colleague. A post, 200 Yaun's girl, born in 207. Very enthusiastic. But this girl has yellow-dyed hair, darker skin. All looks are decent, pretty actually. That Cantonese divided by Guangxi, Guangdong kind of look. Southeast Asian type of features. Average education. Lively and outgoing. In heat for me. The word in heat was his original phrasing. She's very interested in sex, desperately wants to sleep with me, likes to cling to me, wants to kiss me, sends me tons of messages. As for her family background, I don't know if it will help my future. Most likely it won't help my future or career development. He said, at our company, they regularly set up mixers for single men and women. I just encountered a perfect ideal type, but she's avoidant too, and has already blocked me. Second, I still have the chance to meet some highly educated women, but for the ones that fit my taste, the success rate and the time needed to pursue them is unknown. I don't really want to waste too much time on that. It continued. If I choose the girl who's pursuing me now, the advantage is there's no trial and error cost. It's success right away. She's very young. Her appearance is actually decent. Maybe her vitality could infect me. The downside is she's overly enthusiastic, which triggers my avoidant attachment. Also, she's not my ideal type. I'll feel it's settling. She won't help my work or career. If I give up this girl and continue to search for my ideal, maybe I won't feel I'm settling. I hope to find someone who makes me take the initiative to be clingy, like that third ex, maybe a soul resonance. Maybe her family resources will help my career or life. The downside is the success rate is probably low, and I'll have to pay a huge pursuit cost. Even if I succeed, perhaps I'll find she's just so-so afterward, and then the opportunity cost of abandoning the current one is too high. When I read this, I was really angry. Like, truly annoyed. How can this guy be like this? Of course, from the start of our chat, I vetoed his ideal type. I told him, "You're not going to find your ideal type. In fact, this little brother has no choice right now, because there's only one person pursuing him. Oh, this post 2000 Yon's girl he looks down on. He basically has no choice, but he thinks, maybe I can spend some time, cost, and energy to pursue my ideal type?" So I helped him dissect that ideal type for him. It's simply out of reach. Why? Take his third girlfriend as an example. Top school PhD, beautiful, and sees top school PhD. Made him want to kiss and cuddle constantly. Before they went long distance, he didn't notice some issues. Later, he found she was a hardcore feminist, and he had zero tolerance. Honestly, aim high, get middle. Aim middle, get low. Finding someone who meets 100% of your requirements is extremely hard. If you hit 70, 80, 90% alignment, that's already great. But because of perfectionism, he broke up. So I think, first, his requirements are too high. Second, he has avoidant attachment. To put it bluntly, if someone actively clings to him, he wants to run. Think about it. A girl who likes you, I will want to kiss and hug and hang on you. Unless what she likes isn't you, but your family wealth or your income. This guy earns 300 Lieven Yaun a year. In a first-tier city that's not low, but it's not high income either. He didn't detail his family background. Let's assume average. If it were advantaged, he'd have said so. Don't just look at what someone says, look at what they don't say. If it's unsaid, odds are it's not there. If it is, you can update me later. If a person doesn't like you, then those high education, high looks women have no shortage of suitors. You're not good at providing emotional value. Why would such a woman pick you? What you could land when you were young and what you can land now at 33 are two different things. You missed the prime window for chasing the ideal type, and now he still wants the woman to help his career? Every man wants a good father-in-law, but on what grounds can you demand that? In short, the requirements he proposed are unreasonable. He doesn't have the matching hard or soft power. Those high education, high income beauties have plenty of choices. Why would they choose him? How does he beat the competition? A has no competitive edge. Even just on personality avoidant, he already fails. I'm not saying it's impossible he meets such a person, but I told him plainly, even if you meet one, once you date a bit longer, your perfectionism, your poor tolerance, will make it unsustainable, and marriage won't happen. After hearing my explanation, he began to feel his standards were indeed too high. I said, either lower your standards or stop being avoidant. Dating someone with avoidant attachment, male or female, is exhausting. If he doesn't like the girl who likes him, why should he choose her? Because the group he wants to choose from is the group with tons of options. When someone likes him, she can't help kissing and cuddling. And on top of that, she's not allowed to have flaws? He dated 3 women, and by his criteria, not a single one qualifies. Even the last one he liked. Her feminism he couldn't tolerate. When he was younger, he didn't find one. Now that he's older, the chance of finding such a person is almost zero. I won't say absolutely zero, but almost. So many people seem to have choices, but actually have none. And he's too greedy, wants far too much. If he persists, he may struggle to marry in this lifetime. Or maybe later, when he's older, he might find a divorced woman. That could happen. But that would make him even more dissatisfied. Because he's a virgin, asking him to marry a divorcee would feel worse than killing him. By the way, this video is posted at his request. First, he wants to see netizens' comments. Maybe someone will offer wise advice on what he should do, or maybe netizens will scold him awake, whether he should lower standards or improve his soft power, for example, increasing personality competitiveness. Otherwise, it will be really hard to find someone. So I truly hope everyone watching this, if you're older, want to marry, want to find a partner, but keep failing to find a suitable one, consider coming to Xiaomi for a paid wake-up call? Or do a partner criteria positioning session? Why? Because in this case, the brother's requirements are simply outrageous. Even when he met the third one whom he liked, he couldn't hold on. What use is that? His requirements are high, and he still couldn't manage it? Then accused her of being feminist. In short, many people don't realize their requirements are already very high. If you don't adjust your partner criteria in time, you really may become an older leftover man or older leftover woman.
现实生活中真的没有几个人可以笑着走完整个。
Very few people can smile their way through an entire marriage or smile all the way to old age together. Don't be fooled by the internet people presenting how blissful their married life island. They also have messy sides. Who doesn't have soot on the bottom of their pot, so to speak? And some keep promoting how great individualism is. How great not marrying island people are ordinary. Do they never feel unhappy? Never feel lonely? Unless they're saints. Honestly, we can skip that kind of talk. So don't listen solely to what others say. I've been married 8 years. Let me briefly share my feelings about marriage. Don't fill any lifestyle with excessive expectations or fantasies. No lifestyle is perfect. Most unmarried people envy others' big families with children, and many who are married wish for divorce. Why such a huge contrast? It's your mindset. Before marriage, you may think, marriage is like this or that, but before marriage, you lived with your parents. You could do whatever you wanted, because they're your parents, they can endlessly spoil you and tolerate your selfishness. But in marriage, do you think an outsider can tolerate your selfishness, right? So don't idealize. Any lifestyle or relationship mode must return to reality. After marriage, regardless of men or women, you must handle multiple roles. For example, for men, learn to be a father and husband, shoulder the family's financial responsibility. Speaking of most families. For women, mainly handle the home, raise children, and deal with mother-in-law relationships, etc. How do you do these roles well? It sounds like just a household matter, simple enough, but every role requires deep involvement. You have to manage every relationship well, it's complicated. As a man, you might agonize over balancing your mother and your wife, or worry about not making enough money. As a woman, you might feel you lost economic freedom, have no time freedom, stay home with kids, or wasted your youth, plus in-law issues. These are the realities of marriage. Hearing all this, do you think marriage is worthless? It sounds exhausting, but no. Facing all of life and relationships is about your mindset. Marriage can bring a sense of belonging. In your 20 seconds, you often don't have that being alone. Not feeling a sense of achievement, not knowing whether to go home or not, feeling lost. A good marriage gives you two people striving together for the family. So, be clear about the life you want. Don't blindly choose just because you see singles living freely and think, should I be single? Should I divorce? That's not realistic. Once you enter marriage, you must think about how to run and maintain it well, not run from it. Every lifestyle has flaws and won't align with your preferences 100%. Same with friendships. People can't always cater to your emotional needs, and you'll argue. So whatever you choose, think it through. Don't be blind. Weigh pros and cons, then decide. If you want to live well in any lifestyle, the only way is to do well yourself. Have your own economic base and strength. Don't rely on others. Why is the divorce rate among celebrities so high? Because they have money, they won't stay to fulfill someone else's specific needs. Depending on others is worse than depending on yourself. To sum up, if you're confused or torn about whether to continue a relationship, it means you're lacking something within. When you have enough inner confidence and strength, you won't cling, won't agonize, or burn yourself out over a relationship. If, after weighing pros and cons, you find you can't leave someone but also lack the ability to stand alone, then that is what you must work on. When you can stand on your own, you won't be stuck on these issues. So, if you're not married, listen to what I'm saying, this is real talk. Ignore those vague online notions. They're meaningless. Interaction between people is a kind of game divided by negotiation. If you're excellent and capable, you stand taller. Don't burn yourself out. Everything external stems from your internal thinking. Change your perspective and approach, and the situation changes. Grow yourself, and you won't need anyone else to provide emotional value. Keep going. Growing yourself is the best path. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us.
89年的农村大龄剩女，单身女光棍，在农村
A 37-year-old rural leftover woman, still single, working the fields. This year, the watermelons and melons she planted didn't sell well. They were especially cheap, only a few jiao per jin, around a few cents per half kilo. She harvested 3,000 yan jin, is approximately equal to 1,500 kilograms of melons. But after 3 days of selling, they still weren't gone. On such a hot day, around 30 degrees Celsius, she decided to go home and take a nap. Today, her grandma made noodles again. She didn't like noodles, so she just stir-fried some dried beef to make do with a few bites. She was born in 1989, now already 37 years old. Some people ask her, "Are you divorced or never married?" She answers, she has never married even once, never had a child even once. So, is she divorced or unmarried? It really makes her upset. Lately, she has been thinking often. She is already this age, still unmarried and childless. She wonders, should she still get married? She says, "I feel like I already have one foot in the grave. If I don't get married, I'm afraid I will regret it in the future. But if I do get married, I'm afraid I won't be happy. Now I am very conflicted, very torn, very lost, very anxious."
有人问我，离婚后还能找到真爱吗？难道离婚了就不能？
After divorce, can a woman still find true love? Does divorce mean you can't pursue happiness anymore? Absolutely wrong. But remember this iron rule, remarriage can be slow, but you must not gamble and lose again. We can stay single, clarity is better than compromise 100 times over. We can marry late, different people bloom at different times, someone will come later just for you. But you must never marry the wrong person again. Marrying the wrong one consumes your life more than being single ever will. A mistaken first half of life is enough. In the second half, you must choose precisely and carefully. Marriage is for happiness. Divorce is also for happiness. Being single, same as well. Do not let age anxiety bind your choices. You deserve someone who makes you feel that remarriage is truly a blessing.
美色、颜值并不是说上架的筹码。你在婚恋与社交关系中，
Physical beauty and attractiveness are not actual bargaining chips put on the shelf. In marriage and social relationships, your true value match is often hidden in the logic of reality. If you think that just by having outstanding looks you can marry into a wealthy family, you'll find yourself blocked outside the door of marriage. You will never get in. Rich people, when looking for a partner, either go for marriages between powerful families or they marry old classmates they've known for years and know inside out. It's just like nowadays, female celebrities all prefer to marry into families with dowries because both sides can support and promote each other's careers. Much more practical than simply finding some rich guy. Stop fantasizing about Cinderella-style turnarounds. In reality, people from different social circles really do find it hard to come together. If you want to exchange looks for money, you'll easily fall into a big trap. Some girls think that attaching themselves to a rich man means they can lie back and win. But those men have long since figured things out. Giving you tens of thousands each month is just like paying wages from their company. It can be used to offset taxes and also serves as a way to cut losses quickly. As for giving you a house, at most they let you live in it. The ownership remains under their company's name. Rich people are shrewd. If you want them to be taken advantage of and throw money away, it's extremely difficult. And in this kind of relationship, the competition is fierce. In the end, the majority of women end up with nothing but empty hands. A good marriage is about running life together like partners. Marriage is not a poverty relief program. The key is whether the two people can mutually support each other. Money is certainly important, but emotional value, division of family roles, and the ability to withstand risks are equally critical. If your eyes are only fixed on the other person's pocket, sooner or later you will run into problems.
彩礼大家就不要争了啊，我建议定为女方3年的工资。
As for bride price, everyone should stop arguing. My suggestion is to set it at the equivalent of the woman's 3 years of salary. Because if she marries you and has children, her income will be affected for about 3 years. So the bride price should at least equal 3 years of her salary. For example, if the woman earns 150,000 yuan a year, then 3 years is 450,000 yuan. So the bride price is 450,000 yuan. If the woman only earns 50,000 yuan a year, then 3 years is 150,000 yuan. That would be the starting price. Starting price again? What is this? A taxi meter? To put it bluntly, forget 3 years of affected work. What if right after the wedding she stops working completely? Let's count it over 30 years then. That's 1.5 million straight into the pocket. Live the whole life without working, without worrying about food and clothing. Isn't that great? If you want it, just ask openly. After all, it's just daydreaming. In dreams, you can enlarge things without limit, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because back in reality, rest assured, no one is going to give you that. If you're still watching, comment 1 so I know you're still with me.
我老公要挟我，在我婚前的房本上要加上他的名字，要不然就跟我离婚。
My husband asked me to add his name to the deed of the house I owned before marriage. Otherwise, he said he would divorce me. Sisters, what should I do now? I met my husband in October 2021. We only officially got together in mid-December. At the beginning, our relationship was very harmonious. But as time went on, gradually conflicts began to appear. He is the type of person who never reflects on himself. Every time we have a conflict, he immediately blames me, saying you shouldn't be angry. He thinks he has no problems at all. I admit that I have a bit of a temper, but it's also because he provokes me. Still, when we were dating, most of the time was sweet and happy. Aside from some small quarrels, we were both quite satisfied. After being together for 5 months, in May 2022, I took him to meet my parents. At that time, we were both working in a second-tier city outside our home province, both with stable jobs in public institutions. After meeting my parents, everyone felt things were okay. By December that same year, I went with him to his home to meet his parents. He is an only child. The situation then was quite special. Because of the pandemic, our workplaces were very strict about granting leave. It was very difficult to go home. So, without telling either set of parents, we directly got a marriage certificate. This year, his parents came over to discuss the bride price. Where I'm from, the typical bride price is 168,000 yuan. When my brother got married, it was also this amount. But when his parents heard that, they refused, saying their family's economic condition was not good, their standard of living was not high. They insisted the bride price could only be 100,000 yuan. This caused conflict. I want to emphasize, my parents never intended to keep the bride price. All of it was to be used for our house purchase and renovation. But aside from the 100,000 yuan bride price, his parents were not willing to contribute a single cent, not for the house, not for the car, not for renovation. Everything had to depend on us. Meanwhile, my parents had already bought me a house in full when I first started working. So, by comparison, I couldn't help but feel unhappy with his parents. How could they not support their only son at all? Another thing I disliked was his father. He especially loves to brag in front of us, always boasting about how capable and excellent his son Island. A few days ago, we were about to sign a purchase agreement for another house. This incident completely opened my eyes. At the time of signing, the sales agent casually entered names, putting my name before his. When he saw it, he strongly demanded that the names be switched, that his name must come first, mine second. Even though I kept explaining to the agent that the order of names didn't matter, he insisted. He even said that if it wasn't changed, he wouldn't buy the house at all. Honestly, if his name had been placed first from the start, I wouldn't have minded. But I never imagined that when my name appeared first, his reaction would be so extreme. This made me realize that his male chauvinism runs bone deep. Later, when I talked to my dad about it, my dad also felt that a man who is so petty and narrow-minded is not suitable to live with. In the end, I gave in again. The contract was changed, his name placed before mine. Now, the house is almost fully renovated. All the renovation work was handled by my dad. My dad sells doors, so he even provided all the doors in our house for free, a cost of more than 10,000 yuan. His family contributed not a single cent, nor did they help with anything. Now I am preparing for pregnancy. He originally said his mother would come later to help care for the child, but somehow this changed. Now he says his mother will come live with us long term, not just to help, but to stay at least until the child goes to primary school. And whether she stays even longer depends entirely on her own wishes. But I personally don't want to live permanently with my mother-in-law. So we quarreled again. I never expected he would lash out at me. He shouted, "This house is mine. If my mother wants to live here, she can live as long as she wants." When I heard this, I was furious. Later, he softened a little, saying maybe she would stay 6 years, then reconsider. But I was already exhausted from all the fighting. This year, my parents' business has not been doing well. They have no pension. My brother also has no stable job. The house my parents bought for him was with a mortgage, and he has been paying the loan himself. Considering all this, plus the fact that my parents bought me a house in full, which is far from my workplace, recently we discussed selling my premarital full payment house. The plan was, part of the money would go to my parents as their pension fund, the other part would remain mine. When the house was bought, my parents had paid 111 yuan yuan, and I had paid 100 livin yuan yuan. But even while this was still under discussion, as my husband found out and we fought again, he believes that since we are married, the house has something to do with him, so he refuses to allow me to give any of the money to my parents. Not a single cent. He said the most he would agree to is giving my parents 1,000 yuan a month once they turn 60. He even calculated it. The house is worth about 500,000 yuan now. Giving them 7,000 yuan a month is just over 7,000 yuan a year. In his view, he would never lose out. I was shocked. I never expected him to be so calculating. So we quarreled again. My thought was, if the house is sold, of course I should give some to my parents and keep some for myself. But he wouldn't allow it at all. In the end, once again, I compromised. But I never expected that just last night. He picked another fight. This time he said my personality was too strong, and that the house I owned before marriage gave me too much confidence. Therefore, he demanded that I must add his name to the deed of my premarital house. When I told him this was a house my parents bought for me before marriage, that it was impossible to add his name, he immediately said he wanted a divorce. Here's the current situation. Our marital home. The down payment was 250,000 yuan from him, 100,000 yuan from me, which was the bride price. A total of 250,000 yuan. My parents also gave 50,000 yuan as a gift. I additionally spent 50,000 yuan on a parking space. Most of the renovation was paid with my housing fund. Over 20,000 yuan. If we divorce now, this house is very likely to be awarded to him, since his financial contribution was higher. After all, I still have another property under my name. But from bare walls to fully decorated, this house contains all the hard work, effort, and contributions of me and my family. The thought of losing it makes me very unwilling. I am willing to give him more money, because I want to keep this house. But he also wants it, he says, for the sake of his face. He must have this house, even though he doesn't want to stay in this city anymore. I never imagined that rushing into marriage would mean marrying the wrong person. Now I feel extremely miserable. I'm only 28. I never expected that so soon after stepping into the city walls of marriage, I would have to face this. A few years ago, my mother was seriously ill. She has only recently recovered. I don't want them to worry about me. But if I really do divorce, I can't possibly hide it from my parents. Right now, my husband is demanding, if I don't add his name, he will divorce me. But in my heart, I know. And this was my premarital house. There is no way I will add his name. So, sisters, what should I do? I hope those with more life experience can give me some advice.
上一个视频中，我婆婆把正在噼里啪啦的我们两个人一把分开的。
In the previous video, my mother-in-law forcefully pulled the two of us apart while we were in the middle of a heated quarrel. Now comes the follow-up. Let me narrate directly in the first person. That day, after I walked out, I went straight to my friend's house and stayed there for 2 days. During those 2 days, I kept thinking, should I tell my parents about this or not? After all, this marriage was my own choice in the beginning. Now, less than a year into the marriage, such a thing has already happened. I didn't know how to face my parents, and I didn't know how to even bring myself to tell them. For these 7 days, my friend kept persuading me, telling me to think carefully, not to make any rash decisions before I was sure. Actually, during the days I was away, my husband knew exactly where I was. If I had returned home directly, things would not have remained this quiet. My parents would not have so easily let it pass. That's why I could only stay at my friend's place. I only have 1 or 2 close friends, and of course, they knew where I was, but he didn't come over. He only tried to reconcile with me online. He kept trying for 2 days online. By the 3rd day, when he said he would come over, I already felt there was no need for him to come, because at that moment, I had received some other information. It was from a friend of my husband's back in his rural hometown. That person was sort of a relative, but since we were of similar age, I had gotten to know him during visits before, and eventually, we became friends. He sent me some messages, basically about how my mother-in-law handled the matter after it happened. She went home and, in front of all those aunts and villagers, began saying awful things. She told everyone I was like some kind of seductress, that I had drained her son until he was like a piece of dry wood. She even said that the way I usually dressed was far too provocative. Thankfully, my father-in-law usually doesn't go around, and he wasn't there that day. Otherwise, the whole family would have needed to wash their eyes. She said I was shameless, and still dared to demand such a large bride price. She kept going on and on about that damned 128,000 yuan. Some distant relatives, those aunts and cousins, started sending me messages too, or gossiping outside, saying I wasn't worth that amount. Originally, I thought since my husband and I loved each other, we could still resolve things, that we could sit down and properly discuss the future. But now, I feel there is absolutely no point. So, as not to affect my friend, I moved out. I didn't see my husband, and went directly to stay at a hotel. After long and careful thought, I finally decided to call my mother. This matter had already spread so widely. There was no way my husband didn't know. He knew, and yet he never once defended me. So I felt it was unnecessary to continue. I made up my mind and called my mom. When she heard what had happened, she was furious. She and my father came straight to the hotel and took me home. At home, my mom first scolded me and then comforted me. After that, she decided we should separate. But it shouldn't be an easy, careless separation. So I began gathering evidence. I collected my husband's apology messages and wrote out clearly the entire sequence of events, including the gossip. On top of that, I also had footage of my mother-in-law using a copied key to open my door and come in. The entryway camera captured it. She didn't just secretly make a key. She brazenly used it to open the door, walked in, and saw us in the middle of intimacy. She didn't even feel embarrassed. Instead, she did what she did. So, whose fault was it really? After all this, my father was still waiting for my husband to come apologize, wanting to give him a chance. Sure enough, my husband came. On the surface, he was there to reconcile. But in reality, he wasn't sincere at all. Privately, he pulled me aside and said, "Weren't you a little too much? I've already come here to apologize, and aid and atrn or aid. So now you should apologize to my mother. You spoke too harshly, and what you did was wrong. You didn't show her any respect as an elder." Ah, so we must respect the elder's face. But what about our face? Doesn't it matter? He actually wanted me to apologize to his mother in person, and then also apologize in the family group chat. Impossible. Completely impossible. What a good husband. And as for why we've been married half a year with no results, is that my problem? No. It's because he can't perform. That's why there has been no result. Yet he still acts like nothing is wrong. If he thinks there's no problem, fine. But I think their island, he is not normal. I am normal. I can't accept this, and I can't go on. So I demanded a separation. At this point, my father, who didn't know all the details, scolded me, saying, "He's already come to apologize. How can't you talk things out? Why make such a fuss? Besides, your husband is stuck in the middle. It's not easy for him." But he didn't know the full story. I told him what my husband had said, that I was too harsh, and that I should apologize to my mother-in-law. Once my father heard that, he was speechless. He also felt there was no point continuing. He told my husband not to come anymore, and that we should just go through the formalities. So my husband went home. The very next day, my mother-in-law stormed into our house, screaming and shouting, demanding that we return the full 128,000 yuan and also pay compensation to their family. My father saw that this matter could no longer be settled privately. It had to be handed over to professionals. So we started preparing to let the professionals handle it so that neither side would have to contact the other anymore. But soon after giving it to the professionals, I heard something new. It turns out my mother-in-law, my husband, and their entire family had always been bitter about the 128,000 yuan. My mother-in-law had already lined up another woman who only needed 28,000 yuan. Their plan was simple. If I returned the full 128,000 yuan, they could pocket a big profit and then replace me with a cheaper new bride. They thought such a person would suit their family better. Well then, let me wish them luck. May they find someone willing to both marry in and bring them another 128,000 yuan. Good luck to them. As for me, this matter will now be handled by professionals. Thank you, sisters, for all your advice. I've read everything. Thank you.
什么时候想要谈恋爱呢？
我一直都想我的人生短短
When do you want to fall in love? I've always wanted to. In my short 24 years of life, I've thought about it every single day. You're 1.72 meters tall, from East China Maritime University. You haven't been single since birth, have you? Yes, I have. So, your first kiss is still around? Yes. Your features are really so good-looking. Why hasn't anyone chased after you? Ah, no. No one has. Don't you think you're quite good-looking? Not really. Would you consider a long-distance relationship? I think I would. So you feel that companionship is very important, right? Yes. I really hope to have someone who can be with me in real life.
给你1000万，让你这辈子再也不碰男人，你愿意吗？1000万吧。
If I give you 10 million and you could never be with a man for the rest of your life, would you accept it? 10 million? If it's about sending flowers, then forget it, I wouldn't take it. Xiao Cao, 1.6 meters tall, from Baoshan, Shanghai. How many properties does your family have in Shanghai? 2. Postal code 310? Yes? What hobbies do you usually have? Just normal things. So what kind of personality in a girl do you like? Someone cheerful, who laughs easily. And what's your ideal lifestyle? Just like it is now. Are you experienced in dating? Not really. So, is it more important to have compatible values or good looks? Values. What's the best cosmetic surgery for a man? Rap. And for a woman? Nothing in particular, it's all fine. Do you accept going Dutch AA system in a relationship? Yes, I accept it. Why? I think it's pretty normal.
父母对你找对象有要求吗？
没有要求，他们想我快点找。
Do your parents have requirements for the person you date? No requirements. They just tell me to find someone quickly because I've never had a boyfriend. My mom even thought I was homosexual. Haha. How tall are you? 1.68 meters. What do your parents do? My dad works for an airline company. My mom is a housewife. Do you think being well-matched in family background is important? Yes, I think it's very important. What do you think is the most handsome moment for a man? When he spends money. What's your ideal first boyfriend like? Gentle and tolerant. The current reality in Chinese society paints a striking picture. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, by the end of 2023, the number of single adults had already surpassed 240 million, with more than 77 million people over the age of 35 still unmarried. This record-breaking figure shows how intense the pressures of the marriage market have become. The rapid rise of single youth and leftover women is not merely a personal issue, it directly affects birth rates, family structures, and the long-term demographics of China. China Social Trends reveals that as society chases material wealth and unrealistic, perfect standards, the true values of love, family, and mutual sacrifice are increasingly forgotten. We must remember, family is the most enduring foundation of a healthy society. Only by returning to traditional values, love, responsibility, and respect for one another can people build lasting, happy marriages. This is the message that China Social Trends hopes to deliver to all of you watching today. In your opinion, is the main reason why tens of millions of young Chinese remain unmarried due to women setting their standards too high, or because men lack responsibility and strength? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let's debate. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next video. Thank you for watching. See you again in the upcoming videos.